We're talking about forklift training as per OSHA 1910.178. Basically, forklifts have a few differences from automobiles. So for someone you're training to become forklift certified for your company, they need to understand these differences. For example, a forklift, the steer tires are in the rear, whereas on an automobile, they're in the front. Forklift also only has front wheel brakes. There's no brakes in the rear. And you'll see by this graphic, there's a counterweight on the back of the forklift, which counters the weight of the load that you're lifting on your forks. We then have the carriage that the forks are attached to with a backrest, and the carriage is attached to the mast. And you have what they call a ROPS or a FOPS, rollover protection system or fallover protection system. That is there to protect the operator in the event that the forklift tips over on its side. The operator will need to brace his feet on the floor, grasp the steering wheel tightly, and stay inside that enclosure. Do not jump out of the forklift when it tips over. That's how people get killed and injured. You also want to watch for rear end swing. Because the steer tires are in the rear, that rear end is going to swing out in the opposite direction that you're steering. So if you're driving forward and you turn right, the left rear corner is going to swing outward. If you're driving forward and you turn left, the right rear corner is going to swing outward. Also, forklift tires come as cushioned tires. Solid rubber tires or pneumatic tires, you have to fill them up with air. So just be aware of different type of tires. And every forklift in your facility is required to have on the fork truck itself, in a pocket or behind the seat, a daily forklift inspection record and the operation and maintenance manual for that forklift. And sort of a generic looking daily inspection record will look something like this. This one covers an entire month, and basically you go through and you check all these items off every day and initial the bottom of it. So each column represents a day. So you're checking things like the mast, the forks, the guard, fluid levels, do the lights work, does the horn work, checking for loose wires, is the operator manual present, does the seatbelt work, is it fueled up, does the backup alarm work, does the mast go all the way up and down and tilt forward and side shift properly, does it have oil leaking anywhere, is anything bent, broken, missing. If you do find defects, the forklift needs to be tagged out until those defects are corrected, and you need to notify the appropriate management personnel. So basically, for forklift training, for certifying your employees, you don't have to outsource that to an outside company and pay them to do that for you if you already have forklift certified employees at your facility. So basically the training consists of a classroom format, hands-on training where you actually drive the forklift. And once you show the new employee how to drive the forklift and did the walk-around inspection with them, they completed the classroom read-through, you would then give them a road test, essentially, a driving test, and have them pick up a pallet, back up, drive it, set it down, pull out, make sure they beep their horn, make sure they use 3 points of contact when they get up and down on the forklift, make sure they're looking over their shoulder when they're backing up, make sure they put it in park and set the parking brake when they're done, and the fork should be all the way down on the ground. Once they pass that, there's also a written test that they can pass, and then at that point they're certified, and you can print out a business card, certification card, or a 8.5 by 11 certificate for them. Just keep in mind that the forklift certification needs to be renewed and refreshed every 3 years. You need to go over some refresher training with your employees. So you want to keep a roster on hand of who's been trained, when their 3-year refresher training is due to meet OSHA requirements. There's basically 7 classes of forklift trucks, as you can see on this list. Class 1 electric motor rider trucks, so they have big batteries that you need to charge up. Narrow aisle trucks, so that would be like in a warehouse setting. Electric motor hand or hand rider trucks, so that would be one, again with batteries, where you walk behind it and you have hand controls to operate it. Internal combustion engine trucks with cushion tires, so that'll be the solid rubber tires, and that would be gasoline engine, diesel engine, propane engine. And then class 5 internal combustion engine trucks with pneumatic tires. Those would be tires you need to air up. Class 6, you might find those at an airport, let's say, that the tow motors that push airplanes out on the tarmac. Class 7 would be like a telehandler on a construction site for rough terrain. So each class you want to be trained in before you drive that specific class of truck. So keep that in mind. Again, thank you for your time. I hope you found this video helpful. If there's any other topics you'd like me to cover in a future video, please leave a comment below, and I will do my best to get to them.